Hey guys, Books Nelson here, back with another video, and today we'll be talking about this awesome locker code they just released. See it in the thumbnail, it's NBA 2K25 cover athletes. Dash between each of those words, as you see here. We got Dark Matter head coach Asia Wilson. We got Vince Carter. Is this gonna be Vince? No, it's Jason Tatum. And Vince Carter, both Invincible cards as well. So this is a W, obviously, for 2K. Now, I will say, I don't think Vince plays over Clay and Ricky Davis. Now, Tatum, because he's 6'9", he can definitely play at the small forward position for you if you have those two cards, but I do think those two cards are probably better. Let's go ahead and plug these guys into the lineup and get a quick look at them. And actually, we can look at the Tatum side by side, which is actually 6'8", not 6'9". But we'll look at them side by side, and they're really pretty much exactly the same because the ratings on this Tatum are pretty outrageous. The only main difference is the strength. Going from 90 strength to 99 strength is a difference I think you'll feel in game. I think defensively, he takes a big step up with the 99 everything. I think offensively, he'll feel exactly the same because he has the same animations. But obviously, I'm going to replace that player. This is my no money spent squad, as you can see. And we'll bring in Vince for Reggie Lewis, even though I don't necessarily think Vince is better than Reggie Lewis. We'll do that for the sake of this video. And I'll just have a quick look at their animations. Obviously, they have 99 stats across the board and everything. So we don't really need to show about stats and badges because they're invincibles, but we can get a quick look at their animations. So I'll do Vince first. So Vince, the big thing with him is the jumper, right? But also I want to see that step back. So that's his Vince Carter snatchback. And you know what? I actually don't hate his snatchback. I think his snatchback is pretty good. That behind the back looks more like a Halliburton or something, which is pretty good. You can definitely L2 cancel all that. You know what? This Vince Carter, I think this Vince Carter is probably pretty good. I think he's actually pretty good. I think he can play. If you prefer this Vince Carter over a lot of other cards, I can see it. I'm not mad at this. His jump shot's quick enough. I hear a lot of bad things about his jumper. Now, I hadn't used a high-level Vince in a while. Like, I've only used his shot on normal. His shot on very quick feels pretty good to me. I'm not mad at this. I think this is a very makeable shot. Looks really easy Q. Yeah, I'm going to say Vince is actually really good. And just a quick look at the rest of his animation. So this is his size up. Actually pretty solid. Size up. He's got the Devin Booker push cross, which is great. Because with the tech that we discovered on this channel, you can set that up really well. And you can either go into the push cross, or you can go into that in and out tech and burst out more in a standard way. And I think the combination of the push cross and the in and out tech actually is really good. It's good, great variety on a character. But I would say Vince Carter, what I'm really liking is his step back is actually pretty good. Really good step back. You know what? This step back, I'm going to go as far as say this is underrated. Because he's got his own step back. So here's the thing about his step back. Let's talk about the pros and cons of this real quick. So this hop back is not super strong, right? Maybe on last gen it's a little better, but it's not a great hop back. And particularly it's not great because if someone press steal when you do that, they might get a steal animation and get to the ball because you don't move back that much and you might get pulled into a 2P. But the snatchback of this is actually really good, right? That's a great snatchback. So we love that. But here's the other thing. We don't talk about this element of the step back animations a lot. When you're running to the side and you hit step back, right? This one right here. This is actually fantastic for Vince because you can shoot off of that. You can actually shoot off of that really well. And I love that. That's a really, really great step back for shooting off of it. So that's pretty cool. All right. So yeah, so I mean, that's it for Vince. I'm not going to do like a full extensive breakdown, but I actually do think this card is pretty good. I think this is a solid 7.5 out of 10 two guard that can hold his own against the best two guards in the game. He's just not perfect. He just doesn't have every single perfect animation, but he's going to shoot well. He's going to dunk well. He's going to create well. And I think his behind the back is good enough that if you are good at L2 canceling, you can get off with that a little bit. I think you can also do the same thing with his snatchback. I think his snatchback is good to L2, great actually to L2 cancel off of his snatchback. So if you don't have an elite 2 guard, and he's got the LeBron James combo moves as well. So yeah, if you don't have an elite 2 guard, I think Vince actually can play. And you know what? I think he's going to play for this team that I have right here. I think Vince has earned his way onto my no money spent. Let's look at his escape real quick. So he's got the Curry escape. And what I will say is that escape, if you do that escape into this pullback right here, it can be a little bit of a substitute for a snatchback, right? And I go through this on my dribble tutorial, so check that out if you want. But yeah, Vince looking pretty good. All right, Jason Tatum. Now Jason Tatum is almost the opposite of Vince. Like from a jump shot standpoint, for me, this is as good as it gets. I think he's absolutely tremendous. He has what I call true limitless, meaning his limitless range actually works. Like you can actually consistently hit from like right here with Jason Tatum, and just no problem. Just an excellent shooter. So because his shooting's that good, I think that and his size automatically makes him a card that can play. And he can play even more so if you have other cards that create and you don't need him to create. Now, if you do need him to create, I think the main thing he's got going for him is the default tech, right? The in and out tech that we came up with here on this channel. There's a video that you guys can check out. But if you don't know how to do that, which is basically just you do an in and out dribble and you burst out of it, but you burst out of it fast enough that you don't actually see the in and out dribble, just like that right there. Whole video on it, link in the description below. But if you know how to do that, and you know how to do all the stuff like L2 canceling, because I think he has the Curry escape. So you can L2 cancel with that, and that's pretty much enough to kind of get you going with Jason. But Jason doesn't have a great set of animations, so you have to kind of use them opportunistically. I do like the running behind the back to the rim. His behind the back going to the rim is pretty good. This is his regular behind the back, pretty bad. But going to the rim, his signature behind the back is actually excellent. And there's another little bit of tech on this channel. If you do a whoopty, so this is your whoopty, and you can do the behind the back right after, and you can get into a running state, which also gives him some nice options going to the basket. And if you do the in and out tech into his behind the back, that's also really good. So I do think Jason Tatum can be a shot creator. I think he can even be a good shot creator. He just doesn't have the tools that the best shot creators in the game have. But if you're hard up for a small forward, I do think Jason Tatum can more than do the job, because he's just going to hit every shot for you. So I do think this is a W locker code. And with that having been said, we're going to go ahead and quit out. And before we leave, we're going to look at head coach A'ja Wilson and see what she's bringing to the table. So I believe I'm currently using Phil Jackson on this team, or did I not get? No, I'm using Pop. I haven't got Phil on this account yet. So let's see what A'ja's talking about. So speed, hustle, on-ball defense, IQ, consistency IQ, steal. Interesting. I don't think she's a bad coach. What I would say is this. Greg Popovich doesn't have speed. She doesn't have strength. How will you feel about lateral quickness? That depends on, that's user. You guys can have a conversation about that. I think you use A'ja if you have a bunch of cards that need speed, and you use Pop if you have a bunch of cards that need strength. They both have the steal attribute. He has the block attribute, which is huge. I don't know how good that on-ball defense IQ attribute is for your off-ball characters, but I tend to just trust the block and the strength more. But if you're working with a bunch of high-strength characters that could use more speed, then I think you bring in A'ja. But as it is, face value, I would say if you missed out on Pop, and I know some people did miss out on Pop, then you get saved a little bit with A'ja, who brings a lot of what Pop brought to the table. But I do think the strength attribute was the main thing with Pop. So, but having the speed attribute is nice. I still think she's definitely behind Pop. I think she's behind Phil Jackson. And actually, if you're playing clutch time or triple threat, or even salary cap, I think she's behind Ionescu, especially salary cap, because Ionescu is plus 10 to your three-pointer for the entire until you shoot 25 shots. And the thing about clutch time salary cap, and what do you call it? And triple threat, you don't get 25 shots. So it's basically plus 10 the whole game, right? And plus 10 hands attribute is actually not bad. You get better catches. But even for unlimited, depending on your team, she might not be bad for that either, because even though technically you get more than 25 shots, by the time you get to 25 shots, the game might be decided. So depending on what characters you're using, I think Ionescu could be a better choice as well. But yeah, so I would rank Asia probably 4th overall out of the coaches. In Unlimited, she's 3rd. I would still put her above Sabrina in Unlimited. I think there are certain use cases where Sabrina would be the advantage. But yeah, W locker code, all good cards. Definitely think they're all usable. I think Jason Tatum is actually elite with a flaw. I do think he's elite because he's got elite size, elite finishing, elite shooting. He's just that he has adequate shot creation, and the shot creation does require you to be good at dribbling, right? It's not like a character like say even Vince or Devin Booker. You can just left, right, and zigzag back and forth with no knowledge of how to dribble whatsoever, and they're totally fine. But with Jason Tatum, you actually have to know how to dribble to get the most out of him. I think if you do know how to dribble and you try to get the most out of him, he gets a lot closer to the best cards in the game, but he's still missing that elite behind the back and that elite snatch back that's going to hold him back. That having been said, I think if you play within his limitations, he's elite within his limitations. And that's my feedback about this locker code. You guys enjoy, for those of you that need these cards or are just fans of these players. And until next time, please like and subscribe. I'll see y'all. Peace.